Hey guys, welcome to our channel.
Welcome.
My name is Fanta.
And this is your man Darwin. And if you haven't seen already, our video on how Fanta managed to keep me a secret from her parents for 5 years.
I have strict parents, guys.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, that's kind of impressive. Like, you're really good at keeping secrets. She managed to sneak me around everywhere for 5 years.
Well, this video is going to be about how I actually broke the news to them.
Yeah, which is a big deal.
That was a pretty scary situation. But I had to eventually tell them that I had a boyfriend. Otherwise, there was no future for us, pretty much. So some backstory is, if you guys don't know, we are high school sweethearts. We also went to college together, and he actually escorted me to prom.
Escorted? That sounds so professional. I was her prom date.
He was actually my prom date and was my boyfriend at the time. But in order for him to be able to come to my house before prom, I had to tell my parents that he was my prom escort, so that they weren't like suspicious that I was like dating someone. Because in my household, I live in an African Muslim household, and dating is, I don't know what they expect. I feel like they just expect you to just someday appear magically married. But that's not how it works, so yeah. You were my prom escort. Do you want to give them some insight into how that went? Or how awkward that was?
It was actually, it wasn't too awkward because one, I was already accustomed to, Fanta's culture. She kind of gave me, the gist of how things go down for her and her family. And just the fact that
and you just knew.
Secrets. Yeah. I already knew. And one, I'm Haitian, so I could kind of already understand like. All right, bet we're gonna keep this on the DL,
Yeah.
And so when I went to her house for that prom night, it was all good. I kept it a secret.
Yeah.
We kept it moving from there.
My parents were okay with it. They just assumed that, I needed an escort, somebody to give me a corsage for prom.
Yeah.
And someone to take pictures with, and the night went smoothly.
What kind of made, I think, keeping me a secret was the fact that we went off to college together. So, in between prom and the time when Fanta actually revealed me to them as being her boyfriend, I wasn't really interacting with them, so it was kind of easier.
They knew of him, but they didn't know
how involved I was in her
my life. Yeah. So there came a point, we were about to graduate college. So fast forward 5 years later. After high school graduation, right before college graduation. And I was like, this might be a good time to let them know that I've been dating this boy who was my prom, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
I was like, this might be a good time to let them know that this boy that was my prom escort 5 years ago, I'm actually in a serious relationship with, because it was just rude, like we were in love, we were in love, and I saw a future with him. We talked about like our future together, getting married and all of that. And I was just like, how are we gonna move forward to the next step if my parents don't even know who you are? So I was like,
it's true.
There comes a time.
Yeah, in reality, it's really difficult to have any kind of relationship if your family or your parents aren't involved, unless you're estranged.
Yeah. So I decided right before college graduation.
Literally right before. I mean, like what, a week before?
Because I knew that his family was going to be there, and I knew that my family was going to be up there, and I was going to be going to his graduation. I didn't want to have to explain the situation or anything like that. And also, it was just time, like, how rude is it to keep someone you love a secret? You know? I mean, you understand why I kept you a secret. My parents were really like, they were not having it, and it's also the fact that he's Christian too, and he's not African. So there was like a lot of layers to the story, and I just wasn't ready to face it yet. But then there came a point where I was just like, I don't give up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Love is love, and I'm gonna shout it from the rooftops. And so that's when I finally went down from college, because we were upstate. Went down home when I was on break, and I broke the news to my mom. So
were you scared?
I was terrified. I was terrified. Even thinking about it, I feel like my heart rate is like beating and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would have been afraid too.
But I told my parents separately. Actually, I didn't even tell my dad. I made my mom tell my dad, because I was kind of scared to tell him. I just sat my mom down in her room, and I just was like, do you remember Darwin? Because she knew of him. I was like, do you remember Darwin, who was my prom escort? And we also go to college together. One of my good friends. We've actually been boyfriend. He's actually my boyfriend. And my mom, she was like speechless. She was just like staring at me before she said anything. And then she was like, you know, we don't do this. This is always like the sad part, because all she said was,
reality.
She was like, you know, we don't do this. He's Christian, right? You know, we don't do this. And I was just like, my heart was broken, but I was prepared. I was prepared for that reaction, you know. But I just knew it was something that I had to say, because I saw this man being in my future, like for the rest of my life. So she said that, you know, I took that. And I was just like explaining how great of a guy he was. Like, I was just like, he's such a good guy. He's great with his family. I was saying all the good qualities of you, how you make me smile, how you treat me, and how, like, isn't that what you want your daughter to have? Don't you want her to have like a partner that is there?
That love.
Yeah, and I think she could see like the happiness in my face. And so, I mean, what could she do but accept it? So I told her to break the news to my dad. But from then on, they knew. She knew. They knew. And
eventually, you know, it took a couple of years, but they fell in love with me too. I had to wiggle my way.
But then after that situation, graduation happened. How did you feel with graduation when they finally knew that you were my boyfriend?
Yeah, because graduation is when I actually met her family as officially being her boyfriend now. So for me, you know, I'm a chill, laid back guy. So, you know, I don't make a big deal out of anything. Yeah. So, you know, I wasn't afraid. I'm quite charming, you know, so that's all I do. I just turn on my charm, and I think that's how it worked. They fell in love with me. But, you know, at the same time, they were being very polite as well.
They fell in love with you and your character. They love you, but they still, at the end of the day, wanted me to be with someone who was Muslim and African. Yeah. And that was the hard part.
If I try to empathize, I could really put myself in their situation, their shoes, and then just really imagine, like, they're kind of like stuck between a rock and a hard place, in the sense that they have to battle how they understand religion, how they understand culture, and the conflict that exists between that and then us.
Because if you guys don't know, in Islam, a Muslim woman is not allowed to marry someone out of the religion, but it's for a Muslim man, he's able to marry a Christian woman. So like for me, being a Muslim woman, I was not supposed, it was like a sin to marry someone who was Christian. Yeah.
Even for myself, telling my family, I told my family much sooner, but it was kind of the same thing, because
the fear.
Yeah, like the fear of just bringing these two religions together. My mom just having to deal with that, having to deal with, you know, a Haitian mother. It was just
Seventh-day Adventist.
It was just Seventh-day Adventist, you know? Yeah. And it was just as difficult, I would say, but I think they kind of acclimated much faster.
They were warmer in my family. Because even still, after I told my family that, you know, he was my boyfriend and I loved him and that, you know, I saw a future with him and all of that, they still were trying to get me to end the relationship, and they were trying to introduce me.
Muslim.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they tried to make him convert. There was like a whole journey up until we got married, just battling religion and love
and culture, everything.
But we knew when we went through all of this from high school, from you even asking me to be your girlfriend, because from that moment you were scared too, to even just ask me to be his girlfriend, because we knew that religious background was going to be one of the hardest journeys. And we jumped over it.
Boom.
Love conquers all.
It does. It does.
But yeah, so yeah, it was scary, but when you think about how much love you have for a person, it makes it easier, because it's like you just pour your heart out and you accept whatever consequence, or not even consequence, because it's not a consequence. It's really more so for yourself, because if you know someone is meant for you, you're going to be with that person, and nothing on the outside is going to influence or penetrate that love bubble.
And something that I'm so grateful for even now today is just that having found our love and introduced it to our families, they've learned to love each other. Yeah. You know, despite whatever you believe or your religion, your culture, all these other things, it's like I really do feel like our bond in general really just brought us all together.
Yeah. And now our families are like super close. Yeah. Like my brother and sister is always hanging out with your family. Yeah. My mom is always calling his mom, and they're always like chatting it up. They speak French together. So cool that we have that like common thing. Yeah. And yeah, like now it's like a thing of the past, but we haven't had kids yet, so
that's another story.
That's gonna be the next journey. But we're prepared, and we knew this is what it was gonna be like. So
So if you're ever going through anything, man, if you love somebody, just love them
as hard
as you can.
Yes, and don't let anyone tell you different or try to sway you in another direction, because it's the best decision I ever made 100%. To be with you, you know? Imagine I never decided to be with you because of religion, you know? Like, I wouldn't have had the best husband in the world today, so. I love you. I love you too. Nobody's looking at me like that. Anyway. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this content, make sure you leave a like.
Drop a comment below. Let us know your stories.
Yes. Let us know if you want to hear more about our journey, you know, like our journey to wedding planning. Oh my gosh. Planning a wedding with 2 different religions, 2 different cultures. That's a whole nother story. But yeah, guys, stay tuned.